It's so nice to be able to talk to you, and even if I can't actually see you, I can imagine you sitting there and sharing this with me. So I thought I would tell you about a column that I write in Psychic World newspaper regularly, and the current one features something that I've called Prayer and Me. So I'll just read it for you if you like. You can access it by going to your local spiritualist centre or meeting place and asking for a copy. It's 80p. And of course, when you show anything on here, it's always back to front, but there we are. And here am I, also back to front, which some may say is an improvement. And here is the article, so to save you actually reading it. And I decided that this communication to you had to be on a personal level because prayer is very personal. Now, you might say that I'm stating the obvious, if you're used to spiritualist philosophy, that is. We know that prayer is something about communication between us as individuals, experiencing all of life's ups and downs, and those elevated and loving beings on the other side of life, in the spirit realms of light, who hear our prayer requests and hurry them to those who do the healing and succouring work of the Most High, the Great Spirit, God. Outside of spiritualism, prayer is often an ordered and preset format, even prescribed to be said or made at set times. And agreed, we do have some prayers in the form of hymns and spiritual songs that are written down and used at various times in services, etc. But we do not have a set rote of things that we should say to God at any one particular prescribed time. And when we pray, we know that we can formulate our own thoughts and have sweet communion without anyone else having to tell us what to pray and how. Not for us the repeating after them of the same words spoken by a religious leader, priest or designated pastor, by whatever term they're described. Of course, there are prayers that were given to our forebears in ancient days that are so magnificent and simple in their expression that they were obviously received after being given them by inspiration from on high. And these special prayers have been in daily use ever since. Those who recorded these words that have been learned off by heart may not have known themselves that they would be so important for literally thousands of years to millions of people from all over the world. These learned prayers are the bedrock of so many people's daily lives that the original mediums would have been perhaps overwhelmed had they been apprised of the consequences of delivering the words of prayer that they had heard. Moses delivered the prayer repeated ever since by individuals and groups of individuals in times of trouble, times of joy and celebration, and just as the daily prayer regardless of situation or condition in mundane everyday life mode. Jesus relayed a prayer that he told his followers to use in much the same way as he and they had been used to reciting the former, the Moses prayer. Both prayers have had good use as what I call emergency prayers. Prayers you can use in an emergency when you need help and can't get your own thoughts together. I have a prayer that I say when I wake up and when I lay me down to sleep. And the same words that I would say are like an affirmation for me about what my conscious life rests on. In fact, I shared this prayer, the first lines of the prayer that Moses relayed, on my website www.lyngibb-de-swarte.com on a page called, unsurprisingly, Prayer and Meditation. It says, "Blessed are you, Lord, Lord, our Spirit, God. You are one. Blessed are you, Lord, King for eternity." Jesus would have said in Aramaic, in a common Hebrew dialect of the time, "Baruch atoi Adonai, Adonai Eloheinu echad. Baruch atoi Adonai, me'elech le'alom ba'ed." H sound as in the Scottish loch. Going back to all those people around this globe on which we presently reside and the myriad languages in use, it's good to know as spiritualists that the language used in prayer is in actuality irrelevant The language of spirit is universal. All thought is a series of symbols, images that are translated into different languages that our nationality causes us to learn and divides us country by country. It's not so on the other side. Take that word blessed, translated from Hebrew. If we are speaking English, in the Lord's Prayer it translates as hallowed, as in hallowed be thy name, when Jesus must have said blessed is the name, as there was no actual name given to God back then. Nevertheless, the Lord and all the angels and those in spirit hear and understand us anyway. Our spiritualist understanding abhors the fact that people have been killed over the centuries for using the wrong language in which to pray or read the Bible. But I digress. Prayer is so important to me because I know it connects me with the infinite, the world unseen that surrounds us even as we live our lives here. And as I send my thoughts out, I know too that my prayers for healing and easement are heard and have been acted upon. I've been helped so many times it would take a book to log all the instances, and this is not just for me, it works for everyone. Inspirational prayer, conversation between you and the spirit of love and light and all the saintly intercessors will help you as it helps me. And by the way, I have an inspirational prayer channel on YouTube, told to do it by those who hope to be obeyed, my dear guides and helpers, called Rev Lyn's Healing Prayer Channel. I hope it assists you on your spiritual prayer journey. There. Well, that was my piece of writing for Psychic World, and as I said, you can get hold of a copy. And